Maruba, and welcome. Thank you so much for coming here, joining here. This is the first episode of my series. I thought, let me make a series with people, public personalities who have gone through mental health challenges and they have overcome these challenges gracefully. And, this Stand Up to Stigma is the series, and this is the first episode. I'm really happy that we are going to talk about it with people who have so much of pressure from public, from families, but they are still willing to talk about it. And I will have a guest like that today here who agreed to come here live with me, accepted the invitation, and I'm really grateful to him. We don't talk about mental health. It's like and when we talk about mental health, it's like in a hush hush tone. Hey Sid, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm good.
Guys, Sid is right now in LA, so there's a time zone difference, but I'm really grateful to you, Sid, for agreeing for this live. And thank you so much for coming here. It's really an inspiration. It's really an inspiration from coming a person who has gone through a lot, who has gone through these challenges, like forget about only about himself, but even about his family and everything around. So I just thought it's a good thing that if you talk to people, you are someone who is well known, but you still chose to talk about it. So how did it start? How did the journey start of talk?
For me, it was about so 22 months ago, coming up to almost 2 years ago, I decided to stop drinking because drinking, as I've talked about in one of my episodes in Consider This, was giving me a lot of anxiety the next day, and I just realized it wasn't having a positive impact on my mental well-being. And last year, on the 1 year anniversary last August, I put up a post saying, hi guys, guys and girls, it's been a year since I stopped drinking. This is why, I wasn't a big drinker, I wasn't an alcoholic or anything, but, it wasn't having a positive impact on my life. So I decided to stop. And I just got flooded with thousands of messages from people mainly in India saying, oh my gosh, that's amazing. We feel the same way. We would also love to stop drinking, but we don't know how to do it. We don't want to be that person in our friend circle that doesn't drink. And they were like, well, if you can do it, coming from a family that's produced alcohol, then there's no reason why we can't. And it was then I was like, and I was speaking to a few friends and I was like, you know what? I think just seeing how many people related to what I said about drinking, I think I've got a great opportunity here to share some of my other issues that I've gone through. And maybe just by being open and being honest, I might inspire others. I might help others. They were not designed to be preachy or to be, I'm not a therapist myself, so they weren't giving sort of psychological advice, but it was like, hey, you know what? This is what I've gone through. This is what I did to help me. Maybe if you're going through something similar, or maybe if you feel the same way, this can help you. And it was really off the back of that drinking post where I was like, I've got a platform here. I want to just try and help as many people as I can.
Yes, that is the issue. That is the challenge. People don't talk about their issues. They think if we talk, maybe we will not get accepted by the society or by our friends, or people are going to talk about us. So that was a very brave step. That is you being brave, putting it out that this is the issue I'm facing and this is how I'm overcoming. Let's talk about it. So that's what we do in support groups with people, when we are doing the therapy. So you also talked about the anxiety issues and the OCD you live with. So how is that affecting your life, and what was the trigger? How did you get to know that I need to seek therapy? I should see someone.
It started when it started really for me when I was in drama school in 2016, towards the end of it, and I was playing this role which was like a really dark person with a past. And this is also when a lot of my dad's major issues started. But I had this outlet in school, right? And this character that I could take whatever was going on in my head and use it and channel it through the characters. And again, and I talk about this in the video, it was going to a friend's wedding at the end in sort of September 2016 and just feeling, even though I was around all my friends, 700 people there, like everything, I just felt alone and just empty. And then when I got back from that wedding, I remember just one day, just constantly waking up feeling like there was nothing inside. And I remember sitting on my staircase one day opposite this mirror and just started crying. And the only thing, I've said this before, the only way I can describe the feeling is, if you are a Harry Potter fan, there's something in Harry Potter called a Dementor, which sucks all the happiness out of the people in the Azkaban prison. And it felt like I had this Dementor on my shoulder. And I mean, you know what it's like. You sort of get into a vicious cycle because you feel low, you feel empty, but you can't quite pinpoint why you're feeling low or why you're feeling empty. And that gets you even more frustrated and even more angry. And it just keeps you in this vicious circle. And it was then where I was like, you know, it's about time to accept it, that I'm not bulletproof. I need to go and seek professional help to help me with this stage in my life. And, you know, if you're feeling sick, you'll go to a doctor. If you've got a toothache, you go to a dentist. So I was like, well, logically, if there's something that I'm not feeling all right up here, I'll go and see the person that can potentially help me feel better.
That's really nice. Yes, I always tell people that there's no shame when you visit a physical doctor, but there's always a we don't talk about it. It feels like it's forbidden. If there is something wrong with our thoughts, I'm confused, I'm not feeling well here, and I don't want to go to a therapist. And that's like where you said that, yes, going to a dentist, going to a doctor, why not to a therapist?
I think
So,
that's the thing, right? It's just changing that perspective on it.
so do you think after you visited the therapist, it made it easier for you to talk to people about it, what you were feeling, how you
Yeah,
were
I mean,
feeling?
I think I'm a big, you know, the first therapist I went to was not someone that I gelled with very easily. So it didn't really work for me. I found the one that I'm with now. I've been with her for almost 3 years. She's amazing. And we're just very much in sync. So I do think it does definitely help the therapist you have, because you want someone that helps you open up and come out, not someone that makes you almost feel like you want to shut off even more. But they just prescribed me. I first went to a psychiatrist who did an evaluation, and I was given these antidepressants, SSRIs, Cipralex was what it was, 5 mg, so not the highest dose in the world, but enough. And I told friends that I was taking that. I wasn't, you know, ashamed by it or anything. And I think that the hardest thing is not telling my mum, because I was ashamed by it, just purely because she's from a different generation and she wouldn't have understood.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell her. I was like, well, I don't need to tell you. So I didn't.
So when she got to know about it later, I'm
She
sure
got
she
to
must
know
have.
about it last year when I put up an Instagram post about it.
Yeah.
But then I think that's the other thing, is that I think we need to also remember is that, sure, it's nice to talk to people, but you don't owe anyone anything else. You don't owe anyone anything other than yourself. So
Yeah.
you don't need anyone else's validation. You don't need anybody else's, anyone else's approval or anything like that.
That's true. People think that we owe an explanation to people. They start giving justifications. So I always tell people that you can just say that, hey, I don't want to talk. It's over. And if you are giving the reason, that's you being polite about it. But it's not that you owe an explanation to someone. Why are you not feeling like talking? Because if you're not feeling all right in your head, you don't feel like talking to people. You can always tell them, I don't feel like talking. It's fine.